personally witnessed the destruction of human lives from the vicious and cruel attacks of the haters of this world against the transgender community. When I spent time in San Francisco, one of the most liberal cities in America, as a peer leader and life coach to the transgender community at TransThrive, and as a mentor through California's Transgender Economic Empowerment Initiative, I heard stories of attacks on the transgenders in my group. I witnessed their bruises, and I saw their scars. I was incensed at the destruction of these fragile human lives. I felt their pain as they shared their personal stories, and I held them as they shed years of pent-up tears. These are people who cannot even begin to understand the concept of liberty, because as things stand now, they are not afforded even the basic human rights and protections from discrimination which most Americans have under the law. Transgenders are denied employment, a proper education, housing, medical care, and the necessary food just to stay alive. They have been forced into shelters and soup kitchens for their basic survival. Numerous young transgenders were forced to live on the streets after being thrown away by their own families. Many entered the sex trade to survive or were forced to file for disability. Transgender birth is not a disability in and of itself. It is, however, a birth condition which can be treated with a proper medical care and a strong support group to let these children know they are valuable and integral humans worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. An old belief is that the transgender condition developed because of a negative environment and was diagnosed as a mental condition known as gender dysphoria. Today, it is understood by medical science that this was and is not correct. Today we have young transgender children of 4, 5, 6, and 7 years old who, through the loving support of their families and with proper medical care, are being allowed to choose their own genders. It is through these young children that we are learning, and we can clearly see that these children are born with a genetic birth condition. Some young transgender children, the ones who are lucky enough to have enlightened, loving, and caring parents, are being given the chance to live a normal life and to have the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet this is not true for the majority of transgender children who live in homes where they are not encouraged to speak their truth. And in most cases, if they did, they would be beaten, humiliated, bullied, sent into reparative therapy, or cast aside to fend for themselves on the streets, without the love of a family or the guidance of a support group. Every one of these attacks, whether it's a cruel word or a brutal physical attack, regardless of the severity, chips away at the self-esteem and the very soul of the person under attack. Today, the people in the transgender community are at the highest risk to contract HIV and AIDS because they have been forced to survive by whatever means are available and to put their very lives at risk every day in the fight for survival. This is not liberty. It is surely death. Those of us who have been fortunate enough to have achieved success are still at risk. We are at risk of our marriages being invalidated in states that have not legalized several states, the courts have invalidated marriages using same-sex as the grounds, by using the argument that we were born one sex and we are still that sex regardless of our current gender status or what our new or amended birth certificates may say. So far, this has happened in only a few instances, and it is almost always in the case of female transgenders. The intention of the states has been to strip away the right of transgenders to sue on behalf of a spouse, the right to inherit property, the right to community property, and the right to child custody. In Texas, a bill has already been introduced to ban all transgender marriage, and Republican Governor Rick Perry has already said he will sign it into law if it passes through the Texas state legislature. Our jobs are also at risk if and when it's discovered that we are transgenders. And there are countless other legal protections denied to us. This is not freedom, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. It is oppression, and surely destroys human life. My own personal story speaks to the chipping away of self-esteem when I was told that I was an abomination to God and that I was surely condemned to hell for changing what God had created. Well, I stand here to say I am exactly who God created